order to always remember that if God has gotten me this far by faith, if I'm going to go any further, it's going to take faith to get me there. Oh, come on and give God praise. And not only that, it might have taken a kindergarten to the level of faith to get you to point A, amen. But somewhere along the way, you got to start graduating so that you can get more faith. Oh, come on now, that He can increase your measure of faith and increase your capacity. See, sometimes God can't increase your surroundings. He can't bless your ministry. He can't increase your finances because your faith cannot handle it. Cannot handle the pressure that comes with the increase. Look at your neighbor and say, by faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things that are not seen. And then not only that, we begin to see the Faith Hall of Fame. I'm not going to read the whole chapter, amen. If you've never read it, or if you've been a while since you read it, please go through it and see how many, just count the times, amen, that the Apostle Paul uses the term by faith. Amen. And he says by faith right before he talks about the great things, amen, that the people of God that we see in the Old Testament primarily were able to do. Amen. He starts off by faith, Abel offered unto God in verse 4 a more excellent sacrifice than Cain. In verse 5, by faith Enoch was translated that he should not see death and was not found. And then it continues to go on and talk about by faith Noah, amen, being warned of God of things seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. Amen. Look at your neighbor and say, righteousness by faith. It goes on to say, by faith Abraham, when he was called to go out into a place which he should receive after the inheritance, obeyed. And then it goes on and talks about by faith Isaac and Jacob, by faith, amen, Joseph in verse 22, by faith Moses in verse 24, by faith the people passed through the Red Sea in verse 30, by faith Jericho walls fell in verse 31, by faith the harlot Rahab perished not with them that believe when she had received the spies with peace. And it goes on and on. By faith women received their dead raised to life again. By faith, amen, they were stoned and were sawn asunder, were tempted, were slain with the sword. They wandered about in sheepskins and goatskins, but they made it by reading from the New International Version. These were all commended by their faith, yet none of them received what had been promised. God had planned something better for us, so that only together with us would they be made perfect. So I'm hoping you're seeing what the Lord is saying to us tonight. And that's simply that if you want to accomplish anything in your life, and especially the things that are pertaining to God, it's going to take faith. Amen. Look at your neighbor and say, by faith. Goes on in Hebrews the 12th chapter, the first 3 verses, it says, therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, so many witnesses that we just read about by faith, since we are surrounded by all of those witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangled, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us. Goes on to say, let us fix our eyes on Jesus, the author and the finisher or perfecter of our faith. Oh, come on. Enduring the cross, scorning his shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Come on and give God praise again. I don't know about you, but this is exciting. Amen. Amen. This is exciting. This is a revelation because, some of us thought that it was going to be by that man or by that woman. Amen. Some of us, amen, thought we were going to get where God was trying to take us, amen, by that degree that we're spending so much time trying to get, amen. Some of us thought it was going to come by that new car that we're driving so that we can impress the world. Somebody thought it was by me living out in the suburbs in a big old house that I was going to finally get what's coming to me. Some of you guys thought that you couldn't have it because you didn't have those things. Some of you thought that the church, in order to grow the church, you got to spend time out there in the field knocking on doors from sun up to sundown. But what God is saying tonight is that whatever it is that you need from the Lord, you're going to get it one way and one way only, and that's by faith. Oh, come on and tell the Lord thank you. See, you got to have faith. And see, the faith is so important, until that's what happens when the enemy comes up against you. So many times we wonder, well, why am I going through what I'm going through? Why is everybody always picking on me? Why do I have to suffer the way I suffer? Why do I face the trials and tribulations? That is the trying of your faith. Oh, come on and tell the Lord thank you. See, the devil ain't so much after your soul. He can't have your soul because now you belong to the Lord. But what he's trying to do, he's trying to put scenarios up so that he can steal your faith. Because he knows that if you don't have faith, you can no longer please God. Oh, come on and tell the Lord thank you. He knows that if he could steal your faith, you're not going to be able to build anything. You're not going to be able to have anything. You're not going to be able to do anything because it's only by faith. Oh, come on and tell the Lord thank you. So the next time you're facing the enemy, and the Bible tells you fight the good fight of faith, you need to realize that in order for me to win this battle, it's not going to come in how long I can cry. It's not going to come in how loud I can shout. It's not going to come in how much I can fast. But the only way you're going to win is by faith. Oh, come on and tell the Lord, thank you.